What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90, and it is finally time for the final group stage of the Champions League. This is week number 6 and it is heating up. A lot of the groups are already decided, but there are a couple that we're still unsure about. Group A is currently decided, with Club Brugge taking the Europa League spot and Atletico Madrid and Borussia Dortmund qualifying. Obviously, we don't know who's going to win the group yet, but more or less that has been decided. Group B is an interesting one, with Barcelona topping the group, PSV at the bottom of the group, and Tottenham and Inter Milan on the same amount of points. If Tottenham can equal Inter Milan's result against Barcelona, then they go through to the knockout stages. So that is a big one. Group C is up next, and although it's unlikely, no place is currently for certain in Group C. Red Star Belgrade, although they're at the bottom of the table right now, they might not finish there. It's all up for grabs. Group D, Porto have already finished first, Schalke have already secured the second spot, and it's just a battle between Galatasaray and Lokomotiv Moscow to see who goes down to the Europa League. Group E, Bayern and Ajax have already qualified, Benfica have already secured the Europa League spot. It'll just be a battle between Bayern and Ajax to see who wins that group. Thanks to a late goal by Manchester City and Shakhtar Donetsk, Group F is not yet decided. Had Manchester City not scored that goal, Lyon would have already qualified through to the knockouts, and had Shakhtar Donetsk not scored their third goal, Lyon would have already qualified to the knockouts. But now it's all up for grabs, with Man City going through and Lyon and Shakhtar fighting out for the qualification spot. And it is possible that Hoffenheim could take the Europa League spot from Shakhtar Donetsk should they beat Man City and Lyon beat Shakhtar. Real Madrid have already secured the top spot in Group G, and Roma have already secured qualification. That'll be a battle between Viktoria Plzen and CSKA Moscow for the Europa League spot. And Group H, the Europa League spot has been given already to Valencia, and Man United and Juventus need to battle it out for the #1 spot. So the first game is Galatasaray against Porto. Now, Porto have been doing extremely well in the Champions League. Granted, they have had a fairly solid group, but they've only dropped points against Schalke, and they did miss a penalty in that game. Had they scored it, they would have won, and they would have had 5 wins out of 5. Porto are doing extremely well, and Galatasaray having a little bit of a tough time, and I'm going with Porto to beat Galatasaray 2-1, because Galatasaray actually lost to Lokomotiv Moscow, which I didn't predict, so I think Porto will be a little bit too much for them there. The next game is Schalke against Lokomotiv Moscow, and I think Schalke are going to take the 2-0 victory, so basically the top 2 teams just beating the bottom 2 teams. That would mean that Galatasaray drop to the Europa League, and Lokomotiv Moscow unfortunately walk away with nothing. The next game is Barcelona versus Tottenham. Now, I would love to believe, because Tottenham are an English club, and although I support Arsenal, you've got to support the English clubs in the Champions League. I think it's possible Tottenham, if they are on their A game, they could get a draw, maybe even a win against Barcelona. I'm not writing them off yet in terms of qualification, but I do think Barcelona are going to bring their A game. Although they're secure to the next round, some teams might take it a little bit easy. I don't think Barcelona are like that, and I'm going with a close and a very good game, but a 2-1 win to Barcelona. The next game is Club Brugge against Atletico Madrid. Now, as I said, Club Brugge already have the Europa League spot, so there's not a lot to play for other than, I guess, pride and just try and have a good game. But Atletico Madrid are currently 2 points ahead of Dortmund with 1 game to spare, and I think they're going to top the group, winning this game 3-1. The next game, moving back to Barcelona's group, Inter Milan versus PSV. I think this is going to be a very close game, but I do think Inter Milan are going to win this one 2-1, meaning that unless Tottenham pull off something great against Barcelona, they will see themselves down to the Europa League, which they will definitely be competitive in. Obviously, they'd want to go through in the Champions League, but I think the odds are definitely stacked against them. The next game, the big game, a big game for English football in the Champions League, Liverpool versus Napoli. Now, my prediction is interesting. I think, realistically, I think I could see this game ending 2-1 to Liverpool. I think Liverpool are going to win. Their record at Anfield is incredible, and the only 2 times they've ever played Napoli at Anfield, they've won 3-1 and 5-0. So that is a pretty good record. I believe the 3-1 was back in 2010, and the 5-0 was just a few months ago. So Liverpool are definitely capable here. That is why my prediction for this game is going to be 3-1 to Liverpool. I think 2-1 makes sense. I definitely think Napoli are going to score, but I've gone with 3-1 because I think if Napoli score, Liverpool have to win by 2 or more goals. And I think, although Liverpool had a tough time against PSG, and I'm recording this a few weeks before the Champions League, so they just lost to PSG. They haven't played in the Premier League since, so I'm out of it. They might lose all their Premier League games and then have a stinker against Napoli. But even though they lost to PSG, I think that was a very off day for Liverpool. A very off day for Liverpool. And I think they can qualify. It's Anfield. If there's anywhere that any English team can do it, it's Liverpool at Anfield. So I'm going with a 3-1 win. Although 1-0 would be enough to see Liverpool go through, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Napoli are going to score. And I think Napoli are extremely good. And I just think, I don't know, Napoli could even get a draw. I don't see them winning at Anfield, I really don't. But they could get a draw. They are looking that good. They've only lost 2 games in Serie A this year against Juventus, which you'd expect, and Sampdoria, which, you know, you wouldn't expect that, but that's their little blip. They are undefeated in the Champions League, and they are good. I think I'm probably a little bit biased here to the UK clubs, but I'm going with a Liverpool 3-1 win just to see them qualify along with PSG, who will probably beat Red Star Belgrade. But honestly, Liverpool could be looking at Europa League, which is crazy. The next game is Monaco versus Borussia Dortmund, and I wrongly predicted that Dortmund would slap Club Brugge in the last fixture, and it ended in 0-0. Of course, Dortmund had their chances, as you'd expect, but they couldn't actually find the back of the net. And I think they are going to beat Monaco, but I think they'll probably have a feeling that Atletico will beat Club Brugge anyway. I just see this being a 2-0 win to Dortmund, piling on Monaco's misery for Thierry Henry. But yeah, a simple 2-0 win to Dortmund. The next game, a very interesting one, perhaps more interesting than people would think, is Red Star Belgrade against Paris Saint-Germain. This ended in 6-1, I believe, at PSG's ground, but Red Star Belgrade is completely different. In the group stages so far, they've obviously played 2 games, and they've picked up 4 points. 1 against Napoli, and 3 against Liverpool, scoring 2 goals and conceding none. However, I think PSG are going to be up for it, and I think they're just going to play better than Liverpool and Napoli did in that game and take their chances. And I'm going with a 3-1 win to PSG. Red Star Belgrade did manage to score at PSG's ground, even though they were like 5 or 6 goals behind at that point. I do think PSG are going to win this, and I do think PSG are, as a result, going to top the group because I see Liverpool beating Napoli at Anfield. So I think it's going to finish PSG first. And then I want to say Liverpool second, but it wouldn't surprise me if Napoli grabbed that second spot. The next day and the next game, Real Madrid versus CSKA in Moscow. Real Madrid have got a bit of pressure off in this game, having already secured top spot in the group. And I'm going for a 3-0 win here to Real Madrid. Just going to play some free-flowing football without the worry of screwing up, basically, like they did when they lost 1-0 against Moscow. The next game, Viktoria Plzen against Roma. I see Roma just edging this one. Plzen put in a good performance against CSKA Moscow, but I think Roma, they are that little bit better. I'm going with an away win, 2-1 for Roma, but that is going to be a close one. The next one should be a very good game to watch. Ajax versus Bayern Munich. Ajax are at home, they have that advantage, but Bayern are decent, and although they've had a bit of a rough season, they've had a good Champions League campaign so far, and I think it's going to be a great game, a lot of high quality football, but I think Bayern are just going to scrape this again, 2-1. The following game is guaranteed third place Benfica against guaranteed bottom of the table Athens. Athens are the only team in the group stage to not pick up a single point, which is disappointing for them, and I see that continuing. I see them going the whole group stage without getting a point. Benfica winning this one 2-0. As I said, maybe in another year Benfica would have done a bit better in the group stage, but Ajax have just really stepped up and really done well. They've got the draws when they needed to, whereas Benfica have lost a couple more than perhaps they would expect. So I am going with a Benfica win, despite that, 2-0. The next one, Manchester City against TSG Hoffenheim at the Etihad. Now, Man City only just got the win against Hoffenheim 2-1 last time out, but they did beat Shakhtar 6-0 and 3-0, I believe, and Shakhtar recently got the win against Hoffenheim. So if you're using that Shakhtar Donetsk as like a way to pit the two teams against each other, and obviously Man City did beat Hoffenheim in a bit of an underwhelming performance, you could say. All signs point towards Manchester City winning, and Pep Guardiola particularly is the type of manager who, even though they've qualified, will want to secure top spot and will want to win convincingly, and I'm going with a 3-1 victory to Manchester City. The next game is very, very important. Shakhtar Donetsk versus Lyon. The winner of this game goes through to the knockout stages. If it's a draw, then of course Lyon go through to the knockout stages. Now, in my opinion, I really, really want to see Lyon go through. I haven't really watched much of Shakhtar Donetsk, but they got thumped 6-0 and 3-0. That in a group stage, you should not be able to qualify with that. But Lyon just can't seem to hold on to a win. They've drawn... How many games have Lyon drawn? Let me just have a little look here. They've drawn 4 games and won 1. And I think they played better against Manchester City in that 2-2 draw than they did in the 2-1 win. That's just my opinion. I think Lyon were unlucky not to get the win there. But they keep drawing. They keep conceding loads of goals. They scored, I think... oh, my voice just cracked. They scored at least 2 in all of their group stage games, I think. But they concede so many as well. And Shakhtar, they're doing great domestically. They're attacking, as shown in the Hoffenheim game, where they managed to win 3-2. That goal really kept their hopes alive. And they do have the home advantage. So I think this is going to be really close. I hope Lyon qualify. But I'm going with a 2-2 draw here, which still would mean Lyon do qualify. And Shakhtar take the Europa League spot with Hoffenheim at the bottom. Hoffenheim having a tough time in that very difficult group. But I think Lyon, if they play like they played against Man City, they will be absolutely fine. I hope they do. I hope they bring their A game, because I would love to see them go through to the knockout stages and see how far they can get. They might win 2-1, but Shakhtar could easily win 2-1 as well. So I'm going with 2-2, obviously hoping that Lyon do qualify. The next game is Valencia versus Manchester United. Valencia's third spot is secure. Man United's second spot is secure. I think Juventus, they're coming up next against Young Boys. I think they'll win and top the group, and I don't think Manchester United will be able to beat Valencia at Valencia's ground. I'm going with a 1-1 draw for the Valencia-Man United game. And the Young Boys Juventus game, I'm going with Juventus to take all 3 points at their ground. 3-1. Young Boys able to get that consolation goal, but not enough to stop Juventus from topping the group, which would mean if Liverpool do, because I said it could go either way, and it could be Napoli to either lose by just 1 goal but still score, taking them through, or to even draw. But if Liverpool do get the 3-1 prediction that I've predicted here, and all of these predictions happen, the people that qualify will be Atletico Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Barcelona, Inter Milan, PSG, Liverpool, Porto, Schalke, Bayern, Ajax, Man City, Lyon, Real Madrid, Roma, Juventus, and Manchester United, which would make a great round of 16. The ones that could get through, that I hope don't, obviously, you know, Shakhtar Donetsk, they could still get through. I hope they don't. Then, obviously, Tottenham could get through, and I kind of hope they do, but I don't think they will. I think Inter Milan will. And Napoli are looking in a good position to go through, but I hope Liverpool do that either way. So that is going to do it for the Champions League game week 6. It's going to be super exciting. You have to tune into these games. Like I said, it is going to be great. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for this video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like on it. Subscribe today. Turn on the bell so you don't miss a single football upload. I've got loads and loads of Premier League uploads planned. So if I just check my computer right here, I've got the Champions League week 6 today. And then on the 13th of December, 20th of December, 24th of December, 27th of December, and 30th of December, I have 5 Premier League prediction videos planned for you all. So from here on out to the end of the year and beyond, it's all Premier League, because obviously it's the festive period and there's a lot of football going on. So that is going to do it for this video. Like I said, leave a like if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one very soon.